Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Let's Chat About Death. Welcome, my name is Chris, and I'll be taking you through this episode today. You're going to get a lot of enjoyment out of this one. I certainly love the topic and the person that has joined us today. So today we're actually going to be speaking to one of Melbourne's best psychic mediums, Patricia. She's based in Mornington, and that is in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia, for those people that are listening from overseas. So Patricia is on the line. Hello and welcome.
Hello, Chris. How are you?
I'm not bad. We were just talking offline just before about the process of this and how a lot of people want to know more about what you do or what a lot of psychic mediums do. Obviously, you have different specialties or different ways of being able to tap into certain areas. So that's what we're going to dig deeper with you today. You happy to do that?
Yes.
Oh, good,
very.
good. Because if you said no, I'd be going, all right, well, that's our episode today, folks. Thank you very much for joining us. Yeah. So obviously, you've been a psychic medium for a long time. And how did you discover that you had abilities? How did that come about?
Look, I was only in my early teens, about 13,
Mm-hmm.
and I started to know stuff.
Stuff coming to you, or was it just that you were seeing things or hearing things?
Look, it literally started with the death of my youngest brother.
Right, yeah.
It was the night before he died. I just got this premonition, and I was told nothing. I knew he wasn't well,
mm-hmm.
but no indication that it was serious.
Yeah.
And I just sat bolt upright in bed that night and said, Paul's dying.
Yeah.
And it was really, really strong. And I can remember we were on the ship coming here from the UK.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Somebody collected one of my mother's friends, and she came up to me and told me to shut my mouth and don't upset anybody.
Okay. Yeah. Like, you be quiet, sit in the corner.
That's it. Don't you dare upset your mother.
Yeah, because you don't. Kids shouldn't do that. No.
And that was my first real encounter that I was literally aware of. And Paul did die the following day.
Right, yeah. So how old was he? So was he older than you, or
younger than me? He was 12, and I had just had my 14th birthday.
Right, okay, yeah. And then you had another brother?
I had an older brother.
Older brother, yeah.
Yeah.
So you just knew that you just woke up and you had this thing in your mind, and that, look, at the end of the day, that would probably be one of the most scariest things, is to wake up from that, and especially when it comes to death or knowing that something is like, I need to tell someone. And, I guess back in those days too, it would have been like, don't upset, don't, we don't want anyone, knowing about this or whatever. And but because in those days, they'd probably, if you kept going, they'd probably lock you up in an asylum,
But look, I was lucky because I did come from a family that were very open to all of this as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Something talked about at home, but it was never anything that was, we were all believers, or my parents were believers.
Right, okay,
They didn't follow it, but Mum used to talk about people, the seers, she used to call them.
Right.
People that could see.
Yeah.
And it became more open at home after that because of what had happened at that point.
So when did you then end up telling Mum that you had this premonition? Like,
I think she... Yeah. Well, look, Mum, once Paul died, Mum was put in under sedation.
Right, yeah.
So it was only my dad, my older brother, and myself Mum wasn't around for the next week. She was kept because we were on a ship. I think they were a bit worried she might jump.
Oh, yeah. That's fair enough too.
And look, we were lucky. We came to a new country. There were no memories. We were able to build a new life to that degree. But from then on, I had a very special guide, and that was my youngest. And he's walked me right through this journey.
Oh, beautiful. So how do you like? So you're saying that he's helped you, but so for every session that you give people, is he still in there? Or when you give a session to someone about their life or whatever, like can you sense him, or is it just those people's loved ones?
If I need help, I'll call on him.
Right.
I don't.
What happens if he's busy and he goes, nope, not available? You can next Tuesday I'm available between 10 and 2.
Well, every now and again he disappears for a while, and I've got to say to him,
yeah, it's like, come back. Yeah.
But it was funny because he did pass the baton to my older brother, who died, as I say, 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Because Paul would always appear to me 2 or 3 days before something significant would happen.
Right.
And in the end, I said to him, you need to go away. You're frightening me to death. Because when he turned up, there was always something following. And when
you don't want that on yourself. Yeah. Wow.
When my elder brother died, he appeared and I said, oh, Paul's passed the baton. He's given you the job now.
Yeah.
He's said, I've had enough of you.
So does he show up now? Like your older brother?
My older brother does. He's very in my life at the moment. And it's funny because after he passed, I couldn't grieve because I had nothing to grieve for.
Yeah.
I still feel I've got him in my life. I feel I've got them all in my life.
So what do you reckon? What do you reckon you've learnt about, I guess, if we use the word afterlife, through your communications that you've had with souls that have gone? Like, what have you learnt, do you think? Is there such a thing as you've learnt anything from that, or
Yeah, they don't go anywhere. They're still with us.
Yeah.
We just can't see them.
So can they, like you said before, they can come and go, and they've got free will, basically, to do that?
They do.
Yeah.
In soul, we have free will as we do in the human form.
Yeah.
So nobody can take that free will away. So we don't. I often say to my clients when they're grieving, just pretend they've moved to Darwin. You can't see them, but you can talk to them.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel it is with the afterlife. We can't see them. We can certainly feel them, but we never lose them.
Yeah.
They go into a spirit form, as we will in time.
Are you physically, and this is probably a very broad question, but are you scared of death?
Not at all.
No. Were you in the earlier years though?
I was. I had cancer when I was in my 40s.
Gee, that was a long time ago, wasn't it?
All right, don't need to go there.
That was just like, boom, boom. Thank you.
Get into your 50s and you have a fear of growing old. You're starting to feel that you're sort of getting to that. And then all of a sudden, I was frightened I wouldn't grow old.
Yeah, because I guess as kids, all you ever want to do is grow up. And
Correct.
then when you think 40 or even 50, as a kid, you go, oh my God, look at you, you're a grandma,
I know.
And then you get to that age, and it's like if you thought that the average lifespan was 80 or to 85, right? But I mean that's different probably now. You're already into your second half of your life.
Correct.
And it does approach very quickly, in depending on how fast paced your life is. But I was just curious because with death, as what I've experienced, and is death is very taboo, and as soon as you start using the word death, people, their sphincters sort of they tighten up. Like no one ever wants to talk about it because it is one of those things. But I guess being funeral director too is I've probably recently have probably been a little bit more afraid of death, and I don't know why. Like there's nothing that's really changed that's done that I'm aware of. But having the ability, like what you have, to be able to reach out to family that have passed, and for others that have passed, like through your clients, you've got firsthand of experience of what it is like, I guess, on the other side, too. So it gives you that, yeah.
Has always been, it's very peaceful.
Yeah. Free from everything, free from all ails and, yeah.
All people want to do that are in spirit is let us know that they're still with us.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to know where they've hidden the money and where they've hidden this. They don't come through to do that. They come through, hey, I'm okay. I'm with you. I'm supporting you.
So when you get someone that says, oh, but I've Nan died two months ago and I haven't had a sign from her. Like, is it because that they're just not open to it, do you think? Or
too badly.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing is, when you want to connect and you're then now working with emotion and you're trying to connect to them, but your energy's within yourself because you want it so, so badly.
Yeah.
All I would say to somebody is just keep trying, relax, let it come by itself.
Yeah.
And first connection with spirit is generally in your dreams.
Yeah, I would, in my experience, that would, I've had that. Yeah, definitely.
Your resistance is down when you're asleep. And for us to connect, I have to raise my energy level, and whoever I'm trying to connect with has to lower theirs.
Yeah.
Now, that takes a bit of practice for them when they first pass over as well. So it's just a matter of being patient and knowing that they are there and you can connect. Just don't try so hard.
What do you reckon has been some of the most common messages that spirits want to convey to their loved ones? I think you've covered a few, like, that I'm okay and I love you. Has there been any other things that have sort of come through that you thought, oh, wow, that's amazing?
Look, they do tend to know whatever's going on here. And quite often it'll be this trouble within the family, there's infighting, there's squabbling.
Yeah.
And all they're wanting is, peace.
Yeah.
You're a family, you've got to stick together. It doesn't matter about the bits and bobs that mum's left behind.
No, it's all material stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, let them have it. Don't fight over, just have peace. And it's just, they just want you to know that they're there, that they're all right, that everything will be, they can give you little bits, they can say, oh, there's a new car coming for you, or you might be moving house.
Yeah.
But they don't really sit down and give you an essay.
No.
It's bit box.
Because I guess they're limited too. Like, they have a certain amount of energy that they can give out, and then it's get it out and then rest, and next time come out with it again. Yeah. So it's not that never-ending energy where they can talk for 14 hours straight.
No, because they can't hold the energy, and neither could you
No,
probably.
no. It's like time out.
Look, the one, and it's a message that I really feel I've got to get out, is the suicides.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people feel that if you commit suicide, you go to hell.
Yeah.
And you don't. From my own experience, I feel there are two places I'm getting energy from when I'm connecting. The suicides tend to be, it's a lesser energy, and I feel it's a healing energy that they're in when they cross, because they've been tormented in this life. Their soul goes and it's depleted. And they will join their soul group ultimately, but their soul has to re-energize. But they're peaceful, they know what they've done, and they are probably, to a degree, relieved that their pain's over.
Yeah.
I've never met anybody that's regretted, or they're sorry that they've hurt so many people, and they carry that sorrow, and that comes through, but they're not sorry for themselves.
No, I remember doing preparation on that's washing and dressing of a lot of suicide people, particularly more male than female, and just hearing the words in my head, I'm sorry, just tell them I'm sorry, it's not their fault, and things like that, and that to me is and I tell my families, I said, this may not have any connection to anything, but this is what I was feeling.
Yes.
And I find that a lot of those that have taken their life, I guess when you're doing it, you've got that, like you said, that the energy is different. At times I find when it's just for the washing is they're like, when you used to as kids, you'd rub your foot on the ground and then you go up and you spark someone.
Yes.
Have you ever? Yeah. I've occasionally, where that's happened, where, I'll be washing and then all of a sudden I'll touch something and it'll go zap. But there's no, and then I'm looking around and going, all right, what, have I got something connected with power? Like, is there an electric cord attached to this table because I got zapped?
But again, it's energy, isn't it? It's
amazing. It's amazing. And I agree with you with, it's not, they're not too concerned about themselves, but they're concerned for others. And that's that's how it tends to normally be, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you think that there's different realms or levels in the afterlife, or do you think it's all just the same?
I've only ever found the two.
Yeah.
And the people that die after a long debilitating illness also go to that lower level.
Yeah.
So I really feel it's a healing center.
Yeah.
The soul goes there to rejuvenate.
Hopefully it's not connected to the government.
It's just to me. It's just that they're in a place of healing.
Yeah.
They're
and then
not
once they are healed, then they move on to the greater area, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also believe that we don't bring all of our soul energy with us when we incarnate.
Right.
Because our soul energy is very, very strong.
Yeah.
And we bring enough with us to sustain life. So
where does the other go? Remain with your body?
Wherever souls live. To me, I was raised to call it heaven.
Yeah.
But, we connect with our soul on a regular basis at night as well. So you get that feeling of leaving your body. you go and you reconnect. We reconnect with all of them on a regular basis.
Yeah.
The way I liken it is the people that say, they get that sense of falling. And it's the soul being out of the body. It sees that you're waking up and it's got to get back in.
Yeah.
And it comes clumsily.
Yeah.
So,
and then your heart raises and then
what just happened?
Lucky you don't have a weak bladder. Was you?
Oh, that's enough.
That comes with old age. Yeah, as you get older. Yeah.
It does. It does.
How do you handle the emotional side of things when communicating with deceased loved ones, be it your own or others? Is there such a thing as that?
That's a hard question, isn't it?
That's why I asked it.
Thank you.
I don't know. It is. I guess. Yeah, like you're disconnected, but you're connected. Would that make sense when you're talking with these souls?
Not necessarily when you're talking with them, but maybe a bit later on you're going, oh my, I wish you were still here. You know, I wish I could sit down and have a cup of tea with you. I wish I could tell you how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And you know what, you can. It's just the human side slips in every now and again as well, because you can't do this work and live totally in that energy. So I have had to learn to disconnect from both.
Yeah.
And the way I've done it is because I'm an empath, and I can take on everybody's problems. There's no worries.
Yeah. I feel your pain. Yep, I'm with you, girlfriend. Well and truly.
And it's my spooky clothes wardrobe.
Yep.
And they're my working clothes. So to me, they're my armor.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good way of looking at that. Yeah.
So I can then take those clothes off and I'm back into mum mode again.
But what happens if you're down the street and all of a sudden you get that sick feeling in your gut, and you know it's not something that you've eaten? It's definitely come from someone that's not happy in their life or whatever. How do you, Archangel, do you reach out to Archangel Michael and all of your guides and all that? Like, is that something that you do, or do you wear something like a crystal, or do you,
Do I wear a crystal? I've got crystals everywhere. I tend to, and I suggest it to anybody, when you get that feeling, is this to me or from me? So am I receiving this from somebody else that's around me, or is it mine?
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, you could be picking up somebody else's energy. If it's feeling dark, and it's knowing who it is, because if you're passing somebody in a shopping centre, you're sort of gone before.
Yeah, you have no idea, yeah.
Correct. But that's why I go, is it to me or from me?
Yeah.
If it's to me, I'll shake it off and I go, that's not mine. I don't want it.
Yeah.
And I'll just, you do a little shimmy.
Everyone in the street's going, she's having a spasm. Don't worry about it.
No, you have that little.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. I feel what you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense. Either that it's yours or someone else's. Yeah.
Yeah. And if it's mine, then I've got to have a little think about, well, what could this be?
Yeah.
Not seeing, what am I not getting? What do I need to know?
Do you ever get any advice or communication from people that you just don't want to tell the family because it's not, like appropriate, or it might be like bad news? Do you ever get that?
Look, you rarely get bad news.
Yeah.
even reading the tarot, quite often you can see there's something there. Now, you can't predict death, I don't believe. It can show, but everybody's got free will. So if the person's looking like they're in a bad way at the moment, they can rally. So I would say to anybody, there's somebody here and it's looking like a grandfather or a father, maybe you need to spend some time with them.
Yeah.
So I'll never say they're dying.
No.
Because, as I say, free will, they could rally.
Yeah.
So same with when you've got people that are struggling within their relationship. I believe everything's breakable, but everything's also fixable.
Yeah.
I would just then say your relationship needs some work. You need to spend some time together. You need to talk. But there's only once, I think, with a young girl I felt was in a very abusive relationship. And I just said to her, get out. And they weren't my words, they were spirits.
Yeah.
Get out. I was given that and I just gave it. So they will step in, like in that case.
Yeah. And is that hard to deliver that?
No, because I had that was, that just came through spontaneously. They weren't my words.
Yeah.
It was just get out.
Get out, yeah.
So spirit needed her to hear that.
Yeah.
So I guess it's you don't give bad news if you can give gentle news.
Yeah. You come in the back door, right? Yeah, if there is something that like you said, spend more time with dad or mum or whoever, and a little bit more easier guidance than telling it.
And most people know if dad's not well, they know. It's just they want to know when, and who knows how long's a piece of string. It's around, but they'll always go in their own time.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I don't believe anybody goes other than their right time.
Do you believe, and this is a fairly broad question too, that I've often asked myself, but also I think I even put it out on a podcast, an episode about what do we believe is our purpose of our existence in our world that we see it, and our journey through life and death. What do you reckon our purpose is on Earth?
We, before we incarnate, we will have a meeting with our guides in soul, and we choose what we're coming to do. So we always come with a purpose, whatever that purpose might be. It might be to be a doctor. It might be to be a nurse. It might be to help others.
Yeah.
There's any number of reasons why we come. And from there, then we choose a family to come to that can put us on that path. So our parents and our siblings are all part of that journey. So if I wanted to be an opera singer, I'm not going to go to a family that are coal miners.
No.
So I'm going to get a lucky.
Yeah.
So,
if you're going to be an opera singer, go down there. Don't. Yeah. Not on the mind, thanks.
It depends what your life purpose is. Life purpose was to be a healer and a teacher.
So do you think that prior to us passing away in this life, that we meet up with those those same guides again? Or is
Yes.
it once we pass, we meet up with them again, and then what we do after that? Yeah. Does that make sense? I can picture it in my head, but yeah.
Look, I feel, and of course, there's no book. And
No.
I always say to people, I can only go from experience and from what I've learnt. But I do believe that our guides, we've got one guide that's been with us since our soul first evolved.
Yeah.
And that's our main guide. And then others come in and go out depending on what we're doing.
Yeah.
We have a healing guide that works with us. We have a teaching guide, and we have our main guide.
I might have to have another staff meeting because I need to sit them all down and let's work this stuff out. Because I tell you what, I've tested my guides. I tell you, I've pushed them to the limits. Yeah, but
I think we're humans, and that's what we've got. We're here to have a human existence. When we're in soul, we can have the soul existence.
Yeah.
But we're here to do what we're here to do. We can work spiritually. That's not a problem. But basically, we're here to be human beings.
Yeah.
I know a lot of psychics live in this wonderful world where they're living in fairyland, and they're constantly thinking that they're tuned in.
No.
But then they're losing what they've come to do.
Yeah. No, that's here. I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you do have a contract of sorts that this is what I'm coming to do, and this is what I'm coming to do.
Yeah.
And then it's fulfilling that role. And I feel that once we've filled that role, that's when we pass over. We've done all that we've come to do.
Yeah.
If we haven't achieved, I believe we come back in another lifetime to do it again.
Yeah. But I don't know if I want to go back to school. I don't know if I want to go back.
No, I don't.
It's like, oh, far out. Do we have to go through that again? And imagine if you got a family that was one for study. You're going to be in your room for 3 hours, Charlie, and you are going to study. So, no, I'd be jumping the back fence. Yeah.
No, look, I did say when I come back next time, I'd like to have an intellectual brain.
Yeah. Well, now that you've said that, I would say exactly the same. I would want to know that whatever I learn at school or in the books is going to stay in my head. I don't want to have to struggle for it. It's just like, yeah, all right. I've like a photographic memory. I've seen that. Yep, cool. No worries.
Yeah. Next lifetime.
Oh, far out. I got to do these little cheat cards and all the other things that a lot of other kids do.
Yeah, and some kids enjoy it. That's going to be me next time.
Do you? I mean, apart from obviously, you were saying before that you use tarot cards. Is there any other tools or methods that you use to reach the other realms? Like, is there anything that you do?
I like working with photographs.
Yeah.
I find it easier to connect to spirit if I'm looking in their eyes.
Right. Yeah.
I do. Our eyes are the mirror of the soul.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing a mediumship reading, I do find a photograph helps.
Right.
Other than that, I don't use many tools.
No.
I find spirit will connect with me if they want to, or they'll shove me in a direction.
Yeah.
As a psychic medium, I really don't know where my messages come from. And I've never really had a sit down. I've never really needed to know.
Yeah.
I just know I get the messages.
Yeah.
So a lot of people will say, "Who's your guide?" And I go, "I don't know. There's somebody around there, and they're telling me."
What?
But it's just But you see, we're all different. Every psychic works differently because we work with different clairs. You've got clairvoyant, which is clair-seeing, clairsentient, which is knowing, claircognient, it's just a feeler. So we all work so differently and we get our messages so differently.
Yeah.
And that's why two psychics are never identical, because we do work very differently. What
would you say to people that have never been to a psychic before and, you know, and want to get a reading? Like what would you say to them? Because they might be a little bit scared, or they might be a little bit or unsure. But everyone's been to one, you know, and they're all going, yeah, you got to go and see one. Like, what would you suggest to someone that's reached out to you and is a little bit nervous? What would you say to them, do you think?
A psychic's never going to tell you anything that's going to harm you. You have free will. And if I give you a reading today and I say to you, you need to be very, very careful on the road this week, you're consciously aware of that so you can avoid any accidents.
Yeah.
So if your free will overrides everything that comes out in a reading. Yeah. I didn't like what she said about that. Well, that's good, because now you can change it.
Yeah, that's true.
So nothing's said in concrete.
What happens if you had, and I'm sure, no doubt you've had it, the skeptics? Oh, I think you're just a load of rubbish, you know. Oh, I think what you're saying is you're just plopping things out of your head. Have you had that?
Of course.
Yeah.
And everybody's got an opinion.
Yeah.
You don't have to believe what I believe.
No.
You know, it's like politics. We all vote differently.
Yeah.
So what I do because it's what I do. You don't like it, just keep walking.
Yeah, you don't have to comment. Just keep moving. Yeah.
Picking a psychic, I would say to people, look them up, read about them.
How did you know that was actually going to be my next question? Because you're a psychic. Yeah, because that was actually going to be my next question. How do people know? Yeah, how do they pick one?
Just don't go to one just because somebody else says you should.
I will tell you my story, how I first met you, right?
Okay.
And I would have told you, I probably would have told you this a couple of times, but Emma and I, it was, I think, one Saturday morning, and we had woken up early, and we were, you know, how you just sort of sit up and some will go and get a coffee and bring it to bed. And I think we were just scrolling through Facebook or something like, oh yeah. And it came up about the Psychic Expo at Bunjil, right?
Yes.
Bunjil Place. And somewhere along the line, I tapped into that, and then your face just was like, bang. And it was like, for me, it was like an instant connection. Now, I scrolled through everyone else and went, oh, yeah, keep going. I just knew that I had to do whatever I could to see if you were available. Now, I remember that I reached out, and it would have been probably even close to start time. I think it was about, 9:30, or might have even been 9 o'clock, whatever time those expos was at 10:30 or something you normally do. That'd be about
10
right?
o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I reached out to you and I said, hey, this is what I want to do. You're probably booked out. And you went, no, I'm available here and here. And I went, fantastic. I remember when those doors first opened, you looked dead at me. Like there was heaps of people around and you looked straight at me. And it was like you knew, well, I felt that you did, that I was going to be your client walking in. And I remember that clear as day. And then you sort of looked around and then you went straight back at me again, and you knew that I was going to be the person that was going to sit down.
Yeah, you get a feeling this person will sit down. I'll keep going.
So for people that are looking for a psychic, I think it has to be, you look at their photo, you look at their bio, you look at what they specialize in. It might even be a conversation that you have with them or a text message to them. Yeah, I think it, because there's always those people that, you know, oh, I went and saw Jenny, she was lovely. Yeah, for you, but it's not always going to be right, you know, and a female over a male, you know, like what do you, I don't know.
It has personal.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you come to a lot of expos and a lot of psychics will try and draw people in. And that's all well and good. Excuse me. But if that person hasn't chosen you...
That's just the universe saying, okay, no more talking.
They've got to choose you.
Yeah.
You know, I don't believe in roping people in, because if somebody sits down that really hasn't chosen you, but you're available, that can be very, very hard to do.
Yeah.
Because it's exchange of energy. Their energy's got to be open to yours.
Oh, definitely.
So it really has to be personal choice.
Have you ever had an instance where you've heard back from, I'm sure you have because you've heard it from us, but an instance where you've given their reading and they've come back and said, you know what, this happened, that happened. So it sort of validates, validates what you've said. Does that give you more purpose to know that what you're doing has happened or has worked? Does that make sense?
Are you there?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I've just lost. I think I've just lost her. This will really trip a lot of people out. And none of you would probably be aware of this, but over a long period of time, Pat and I have been chatting. I mean, I might be thinking of Pat, or Pat might be thinking, oh, there's just something that I need to tell you as we've moved along. And normally if we're having conversations about spirit or guides or life or whatever, we tend to get a little bit of a technical difficulty with our phones. And you know what? It's just happened. And it's just now coincidence. Yes, it could be that, you know, where we are or Telstra or whatever brand we're with might have an issue. But leading up to that, I was just thinking that I was going to tell that story, and then all of a sudden, bang, you go down, or I go down, either one or the other. So yes, so I'm at times I'm not a real believer of coincidences. I think it just, things happen for a reason. It's there, bang. There's a reason. There's a purpose why that's happened. So there you go. So sorry about that, Pat.
All good. All good.
It's like, hello, are you there?
I was trying to break into the line, but somebody was there.
Yeah, they were communicating. That's right. Oh, far out.
So where were...
Well, yes, I think we were about personal beliefs for people going for a psychic and having that connection or that feel of it happening. Yeah.
Look, feedback's always lovely. To know, because, you know, I consider an expo and I can do multiple readings, one after the other. And just to have somebody come back and say you were right. It's so satisfying. I can remember in the very early days, I came home from an expo, sat down exhausted, and I'm going, oh my God, how do I know what I'm doing is right? And I got this booming voice that said to me, you are only the conduit. And I thought, okay, I won't question it anymore.
And did you say to your hubby, oh, don't talk to me like that? It's like, it wasn't me.
So really, you're really only a channel for
Yeah.
spirit to get their messages through.
Yeah. Oh,
You really
yeah.
the channel.
And you're gonna have mixed. Excuse the dog. He decides that he wants to bark. Emma's.
That's all
Yeah, that's all
right.
right. Yeah. Look, I think you can have mixed lines. You can have all sorts of things, but I think I've often wondered, after the expos, like you feel, and when you're exhausted, obviously you're dealing with all of that. It's a lot of energy that gets expelled out of you. How do you recover from that? How do you get your energy back?
Generally, I find if it's been a big expo, the following day I just leave my calendar clear.
Yeah.
And it's just a veg day then.
Yeah.
So it's just being able to recharge and get going again.
Yeah.
But the best thing that gets me going again is another reading.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then your energy's up again. Yeah. Yeah.
Correct. So you learn to manage it.
Yeah. Oh, you would definitely. Well, look, I think you have covered a lot of ground, and I want to thank you, and I think you're getting some applause there. I want to thank you for coming on and sharing, and no doubt we'll probably have other chats with you down the track. You may even come on to one of our lives that we have at a theatre near you, and I hope everyone out there has learnt a lot about what a psychic or a psychic medium does. Like Pat said, everyone's different. For those people that don't follow us on social media, on TikTok, it's Let's Chat About Death podcast. Go and have a look. And we love that you've listened to this today. And it's great getting very special guests in today. So thank you, Pat, for coming on.
My pleasure.
And until we all come back on, have a good day, and we'll chat later. Bye for now.